Hey everybody, welcome to Skyping with Tiana. I'm your host, Tiana Sirmans, and as you guys know, I am part of Kiki's Cinderella's program, and today I'm going to be talking with another celebrity godparent for Kiki's Cinderella program, Tyla Harris. Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. Your intro was like so great. I love it.
Thank you. You play a character named Jasmine Wallace on your show for life. Can you tell me a little bit about the show for life?
Of course. So, For Life is based on the true story of Mr. Isaac Wright Jr.'s life. Isaac Wright Jr. was a man who was wrongly convicted of being one of the biggest drug kingpins in New York and New Jersey. He was convicted under the New Jersey kingpin law and sentenced to jail for life, which is
Wow.
crazy. When he was in jail, he would not allow that conviction to, you know, force him to stop living out whatever he wanted to do. So he ended up getting his law degree in jail. Then he fought for other people to get out of jail. He fought to get himself out of jail. He got out of jail, turned around and prosecuted all the people that prosecuted him in jail. And he made things that were wrong right. And now he does pro bono work and he becomes lawyers for different people in the community. So our show is basically based on everything that the wonderful Mr. Isaac Wright Jr. did with a little bit of drama, you know?
I like how you did drama.
Drama. It's that effect. You got to add that effect.
Yeah, I know that you want to become a lawyer, and I also thought that was pretty cool that you actually play a daughter of a lawyer on the show. So can you tell me why you want to become a lawyer?
Of course. So I've actually been a policy debater, which is kind of like the same setup as real lawyers in a court. I've been a policy debater for 6 years. So ever since I started doing policy debate, I always wanted to actually be able to be a part of litigation in real life. So that's a part of it. And then another part of it is when I was younger, I wanted to be the president. And to be the president, I thought you had to be a lawyer, but I gave
Yeah,
up my dream. I just want to be a lawyer.
yeah. What type of law do you want to practice?
So I have two options that I don't know which one I want to go with. The first one is children's advocacy. So basically, I'd be advocating for different children and kids in different situations under the law. And then the second one is I don't know the specifics yet, but anything under international law so that I can litigate contracts between countries.
Those are great.
Thanks. I thought that myself.
What have you learned so far about being a lawyer from the show for life?
It's tough. I think the show does a great deal in representing lawyers and the law in the correct light. So when I look at the show, I see the same examples that I see in my college courses of how to deal with certain situations and how you can appeal certain things and still fight for certain things to get the justice that you think you deserve.
Okay. What do you enjoy the most about being an actress?
I think connecting with people and
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that you can connect with people even if you've never met them. People will feel like they met you because you allowed them to convey an emotion. So I
That's
think
true. I get that a lot when I'm doing my research and watching videos. It feels like I actually know the person, even from just watching videos and stuff.
yeah, it's like the more you see someone emote and be themselves in different situations, the more you feel like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I know her. And then you meet them in real life and you're like, I don't. But it's cool though. It's cool.
You have been in so many different leadership positions. You've been on a debate team and you were a majorette. So, in your own words, what does it take to be a good leader?
First, I think listening, right?
Right.
So when in order to be a leader, you have to know what you're doing, which means you have to know what you're leading and how they and you have to know who you're leading and how they feel about what you're leading, right?
Right.
So you always hear the phrase that you have two ears and one mouth, but that's very true. You have to process things double as much as you give out instruction so that you can be effective with your communication. Then it takes integrity, that you have to be honest with yourself. Especially if
Right.
you're going to be in a leadership position, you have to be able to say, guys, I may not have done that in the best way. Let's try to correct things. Or maybe we're not going in the best route. Let's try to go in a better route. Even if it's about you, you have to be willing to be honest with the group and trust your gut. Then you have to be focused and be confident in yourself.
Yeah. What do you like to do when you have free time and you're not taping or doing anything?
So much. I love painting. I
Me
can't
too.
draw, but I try to paint, you know? I like all
Yeah.
the colors that you can use. It's very
Me too.
relaxing. I also read. I
Me
think
too.
more recently I've been reading a lot. What book have you read last?
The last book that I've read was Mary Poppins Returns. Mary Poppins. Sorry.
I've never read that. I'm gonna go look for that. The
Yeah.
last book I read was Souls of Black Folk by W.E. Du Bois. I love real life stories and philosophies, so things of that
Too.
sort. And I also write. I write poetry. I write scripts. I write just whatever comes to mind. I'll write it down.
Me too. I've wrote poems before, and I've also wrote scripts too. I
Really?
say we do about the same thing in our free time. So you mentioned that you have like to write poetry, and I also realized that you actually have a self-published poetry book out. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
um, well, not out anymore. But when I was a junior in high school, I self-published my own poetry book because I wanted to see my growth. So I've been writing
Right.
poetry since I could read. I think I've always I've always loved how you can put together words to tell different stories and how, sometimes you can craft a really nice sentence and it can tell you everything you need to know about an emotion or how you feel in that moment. So I wanted to see how much I've grown, and then I kept a book for myself so that in a few years I can look back and be like, I sucked, but I'm so much better now.
What inspires your poems?
I think just how I feel in the moment, just
Yeah.
how I feel. I've written for some people before, so I've had friends come up to me and say, I'm sad, and this is what happened to me. Can you write a poem about it? I've done that. But besides that, it's just how I feel in the moment. Because I think it has to be honest for it to be great.
Yeah, definitely. Art is kind of like a relaxing thing.
Mhm. Get
You
all
know?
your emotions out. Get all, you
Yeah.
know.
Paint your emotions away.
Mhm.
Yeah. In one of your Instagram posts, you said that you were misled by other people's opinions and judgments. How hard is it not to care about what other people think?
Extremely hard. Especially being, well, it doesn't matter if you're a public figure or if you're, a kindergartner or
Yeah.
if you're 76. People will always have opinions about what you're doing and
Mm,
how you do things, and whether or
yeah.
not you accept them, you hear them. So it can
Yeah.
be hard sometimes.
It definitely can be. And what advice do you have for our Cinderellas who may also be facing the same thing?
I have an analogy, personal analogy that I use in my everyday life. So your life is like a movie. No
Right.
one has ever seen all parts of your movie except for you, because you're the only person who has the camera. So
Right.
the thing about it is, people who have something to say have only seen certain scenes in the movie. They've only seen certain parts of it, so they can only judge from the parts that they've seen. So they
Right.
review and they critique and they give you their critique. And in real life, when someone gives you a critique or a review of a movie, a piece of art, you
Right.
take it with a grain of salt. You say, okay, they don't like that movie, but let me just watch the movie, or let me just do this just in case to see if I like it. You can always create your own opinion. And the beautiful part about your movie is that if you feel like maybe that person is right, maybe I can work on this, or maybe I can work on that, you can always rewrite the script. You can always keep going and write a better ending.
That's true. And very well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what would you say has been your biggest accomplishment so far?
Overcoming adversities. It's an ongoing accomplishment. I think goals are meant to be broken. So I wouldn't consider any goal in particular to be my biggest, but I'll say seeing myself get over hard times is continuously one of my biggest accomplishments because it reminds me of what I'm capable of.
That's a good accomplishment.
Thanks. Oh my God, you make me feel so special. Thanks.
You're welcome. If you could only do one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'd be a therapist
Therapist.
because I think it would allow me to go through different emotions and talk to people with different emotions and help them so I feel better about not being able to do anything else.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way to go through communication.
Mm-hmm. Have
Yeah.
to communicate. I feel like that's one of the most important parts of life.
Yes.